let's go. Welcome to another Big Mish movement workshop. And today we are going to talk about something as simple as breathing. Huge concept, and there's really actually a lot to break down. Even though I talk a lot about breathing already in my workshops, I don't talk enough about the actual breathing process enough, or give enough guidance to what we need to know and arm ourselves with going into our workouts, going into life, handling stress, and all of that stuff. Because basically breathing has really come into the forefront in terms of being utilized for rehabilitation, for exercises, for stress management. It's just really scientifically just now there's been showing so much research of how much it helps. We always knew it was good, but I think it wasn't really emphasized, or it's really just in the last 5 years kind of been talked about more and more and more. And I will say personally, from my educational experiences, it is the game changer. It is the true game changer. But somehow it's like, it's not as simple as just to breathe. It's something that you have to really dial into and be really good at and manage and be able to sort of activate, turn on, turn off, whatever it may be. So that is why I'm here to sort of break down what you need to know and what you need to do, so that you can have a little bit more clarity on what breathing is. So first of all, why breathing? Why is it so important? So basically, it's connected to your neurology. It's how you handle and manage your neurology. It's basically, your neurology is pretty much goes into stress or rest. Stress, go, get things done, to also, when you're also being overly worked, to rest, digest, that kind of stuff, and rebuild, refuel. And so basically, our breathing really just sort of ties in with that. And if you really think about it, a person that's very stressed, super stressed, maybe hyperventilating, which is a very rapid breath rate, okay? So that's an extreme on the spectrum, okay? Now take somebody that's meditating, a monk that's meditating in somewhere in the remoteness of the world. And those who are doing meditation for elite periods of time, so maybe a day or so, their breath rate is probably just slowed down to an incredible, something that you just can't do without years and years of practice. And so they're putting their body into a completely rest, anti-stress state there, just absolutely shutting things down, so it doesn't need to work even. So those are your two opposite ends of the spectrum. So what you need to know is basically breathing is a real key way to manage that. It's just, how do we manipulate that into our day? What are we doing throughout our day to make that more optimal? Okay, so it's basically related to your neurology, functional neurology, how you handle your neurology, and calmness. So basically, yes, and that's going into, like I was already talking about, meditation, which is a state of calmness. And if you're going to meditate, you're going to have to breathe well. And it's, again, important to know some of these important things, just to be mindful of what we need to do, because sometimes when we're breathing, we're not breathing all the way properly, we're not mindful of all the things going on, we're not truly allowing our body to go into that de-stressed state. So what I mean by de-stressed state is when you're really able to relax and slow your breath rate down, get rid of all that's in your lungs, get good expansion. You're able to put your body in a reset or toned down state, because when we're breathing badly and everything, and because usually that's where it starts with, is poor breathing, or we're just very stressed, poor sleep patterns, whatever it is, you're naturally going to be tighter all around. Your body's just going to be just a tense state. And so a big way we manage that, a big way we tap into that, is with our breathing. And so that's how breathing also ties in nowadays with a lot of rehabilitation, going to your PT, physical therapy. Sometimes that's what they should be doing initially when you're saying, well, my neck's really tight, my back's really tight. Well, let's get you breathing first and see how that changes everything. Because sometimes that can make all the difference in the world. And even if you're going into the strength world, so it really doesn't matter whether you're hurt or even trying to be your best. Proper breathing puts your body into the proper state. More reasons why we should have good breathing patterns. Sleep, this is huge. This is huge, huge, huge. Because what you do throughout the day sets you up for your night. That's a philosophy that's really true. You could do all the supplements in the world, you could black out your room and all that, but if you're not doing something throughout your day to really ground yourself a little bit more, especially doing some of that before you sleep, you're not going to be able to just switch off the brain. Brain is wired to think, and the problem is we just assume that I go as hard as I can throughout the day and I expend all my energy and I'm just going to sleep throughout the night. It doesn't work like that. The brain is just wired to think. So how do we get that to calm down? How do we get a better sleep pattern? Well, in big ways, it starts with some relaxed breathing. Especially before you go to bed, is proven to be a really nice way to calm your body down and set up some good breathing patterns throughout the night, which is obviously going to get bad because it just does get bad. That's why we all snore, have sleep apnea, grind our teeth. It's all related to breathing in the long run. However, it'd be nice and healthy to do this during the day as well. So because, again, our day is so stressful, rapid breathing rates, we never really slow that round. Here's an important thing to know. We breathe 22,000 plus times a day. That's about average. It's for a normal human being. However, the more stressed we are, the more on the go we are, the less mindful we are of ourselves and our awareness of our internal. That number is only going to be higher, and that only is going to relate to more chronic tension, more stress. So bring that number down. If you could bring that number down throughout your day, you're going to put your body into a better state for sleep. Ice baths are a very popular way of enhancing breathing, but even then, if you're somebody that likes to do ice baths or is curious about ice therapy and all of the physiological and psychological benefits, you still need some of these proper breathing patterns. And I appreciate people who do meditation apps. I appreciate people who do Wim Hof method and all these breathing pattern exercises and all that. Just take a listen to what I'm going to tell you, because I just think some of these things are going to be very important for you to be mindful of. Why? Because it helps with repositioning of your posture. It helps with bringing your stress levels down to the optimal. It helps with gas exchange, which when we're not filtering out enough of that carbon dioxide, it only leads to more stress and lack of oxygen into our lungs. So we have to be able to make sure that we're filtering that out properly. And lastly, by doing all this proper breathing stuff, it just enhances you the most for your movement and enables you the most for your movement capabilities. So this is why it's just so important to do some proper breathing before your workouts, before your bedtime, or even just when you wake up. So with that being said, let's get into it. I'm only going to do about 5 or so things. It's really easy. This is just getting you just completely aware of what breathing is, and now I want you to take this into your meditation, into your walks, into your workouts, into your stress times, because this is the stuff you kind of want to do. Your do's. Make sure checklists. So number 1, like I said, is pace. Our pace. We breathe too fast, so we have to slow that down. You want to slow that down, and every time I'm working with a client and when we go into breathing, and when I say, all right, can you just go show me your breathing, regardless of whether they're a chest breather, belly breather, 9 times out of 10 the pace will just be horrendous. It'll be way too quick. So that's your cue almost to when I say breathing, or when you think deep breathing, is how much can I slow this down, okay? All right, and so we're going to talk about the pace, and then but as I go through it, we're also going to talk about other factors such as proper exhalation, getting rid of carbon dioxide, proper expansion, and whatnot. But let's number one is pace. So your inhale actually does not matter as much because we are naturally good at inhaling. Inhaling is your go. It's your start. You are born to inhale. Get a nice fright. That was an inhale. That was just your shock system. So when you inhale, number one is don't breathe in like you just came out from underneath a wave and you lost all your oxygen. You're trying to gasp for air. We want to make sure our inhales are nice, slow, calm, and always through the nose. As much as you can through the nose. As much as you can through the nose. Why? Because the nose knows. And basically, the more you breathe through the nose, the more you're going to keep your body in a calmer state. We are predominantly mouth breathers, especially when we work out, and that just fuels a little bit more stress and tension than we need. If we can just keep that down and breathe through the nose as much as possible, you keep your stress levels down and you get to basically make sure that everything that's working through the workout is working and you're not overly working things that don't want to be working. So making sure that we breathe through the nose nice and slowly. I like to think about a 3-second inhale to about a 5-second inhale. That should be kind of enough to really fill up and expand. Now here's the important part. The exhalation is the most important part of breathing. I'll say it again. The exhalation is the most important part of breathing. And it is also the most important part of core. You have to exhale properly if you truly want your core to work. If not, you can certainly cheat it. We can lift much heavy weight cheating without probably using our core. But you can't really engage your core unless you truly exhaled. And once you truly exhaled, you'll feel a pressure that you'll never felt before, and it also keeping you in a nice, safe state, and that will fuel you throughout life, whether it's for stress or for lifting heavy movements, which is also stress, or just keeping that lower back tension down, whatever it is. So the exhale is the most important. And like I said, gas exchange, you've got to get rid of everything. And I thought I was going to get into exhales later, but in terms of positioning, but what I would like to think about for pace is at least 5 seconds for exhale, at least 5 seconds. Biggest mistake I see is people go, that was shite, okay? You gotta go at least 5 seconds and get rid of everything that's in your lungs. Very, very important. Get rid of all of that carbon dioxide that your body does not need anymore, and blow till you've got no more left to go, and then you'll naturally feel some very nice abs. That's what we're trying to do when we exhale. A little bit almost every time. We don't want full-on ab pressure, but we want to get rid of everything where we start recruiting some abs. Hugely important, and one of the biggest things we're lacking. Okay, so that's about a 3 to 5 second inhale, but a good 5-second exhale. Then, next, a pause before we breathe in. About 3 seconds, but if you can stretch it, 5 seconds would be nice. This is important. This will actually allow you to filter out a little bit more carbon dioxide, and it's going to allow you to just build a little bit of that tolerance, which once you build, you can really allow your body to go into that calmer state. Versus the opposition, if you fill up your lungs and hold your breath, that will actually also crank up a little bit more of the stress faster. I know naturally we need oxygen, but there's something about the state of exhalation that's very stopping. And when we're stopping, we are stopping and calming. The inhalation is very it's very stressed on, it pushes you on. So this is what we're just trying to filter and manage through you and get you more accustomed to. Because naturally you'll be good at the other. You'll be in a state of inhalation. You'll be very good at breathing in. You'll be very good at always keeping air in because you're holding on, but allow your system to get rid of everything. Okay? So that's pretty much your pace, and that's something I think you should be very mindful of working through any meditation, working through any breathing work, working through any, any kind of sort of prepping or calming, whatever you want to do before. Not necessarily that something that you do in a workout. I don't necessarily recommend pausing before you inhale all the time. But if you can work on that and build that little bit of tolerance, guarantee your system will calm down, especially if you can accept it, and it will actually set you up for a very nice inhalation once you wait before you breathe in. So that's your pace. 5 seconds in, or 3 to 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, 3 seconds wait. This is a very common pattern when I do breath work. Very common pattern. Okay, that's the pace. Now let's get into some actual, a little bit more of the exercises while focusing on exhalation, the most important part. Remember, I said exhalation is the most important part. For this one, I'm just going to go on the floor on all fours position so that we can facilitate good exhalation position. A good exhalation position is basically ribs dropping, okay? Good exhalation, my ribs will drop. Don't get this confused with a slouch. A slouch is something very different and out of control. However, overly extended position is also pretty out of control in the sense of you're very extended and you're not able to utilize your core, and it's very symbolic of somebody that doesn't have good breath control. So that's what we want, is exhalation, ribs to drop, because we're simply getting rid of everything. Blow first, move second. Don't just crunch and just start blowing. Okay, but I'm going to do this on the all fours position, specifically catering to a little bit of core recruitment. And what we're also trying to do is not be in an overly extended position. We're trying to be in a flex position. We're going to talk about this next in terms of inhalation and expansion, but if you can, you'll feel a little bit of expansion, especially here in the upper back, just because we're trying to really fill our whole cavity with air. But for now, we're talking about exhalation. So, hands and knees on the floor. You guys just stay in this position. And I want you to round up as much as possible. So tucking your tailbone forward, chin down, and just round up as much as possible. And actually what you're gonna do is just stay in this position. Arms locked out, that is very important, arms locked out. And we're gonna breathe in that pace of what I just discussed. So let's go with a nice little exhalation to get rid of everything. Okay, 5 seconds in. 5 seconds out, make sure you blow through your mouth. Pause for 3. Inhale for 5. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So what you would do basically is, I would do always a cycle of 5 breaths. That's usually a nice way to go. It usually equates to about 30 seconds of work too, but if you get better, you simply expand it and it goes for longer, up to a minute even if you have really good control. Crucial, blowing out through the mouth. There's 2 ways you can do this. One, the birthday cake, or the balloon, even better way to think about it. Okay, imagine you have a balloon, imagine that rubber's resistance, blow hard. Or a birthday cake and you got a row of them, you gotta really just blow them all out. The other way to do it, and this is a little bit more calming way, this is also a little bit better way to relax the jaw if you're someone that clenches a lot, which is only gonna hinder your breathing patterns. Exhale with a sigh. It really doesn't matter which one you do, so long as you just get rid of what's in here, you will get some of this going. And this position is only further helping the abs. So again, I'm just gonna do three more breaths in this position so that you kind of see what it's like. Round up, inhale, stretching into the back, exhale. I feel my abs tighten up. Pause for 3,
Inhale. I really feel my upper back stretch and open up. Exhale. I feel my ribs get pulled tight down. Pause for 3. Inhale. I'm really filling up more and more each time. Exhale for 5. Feel that tightness, the vacuum feeling. Pause. And one more inhale.
So as you stretch further and further, those techniques, those phases, or whatever you call the pace, is basically helping facilitate get more and more stretch. The arm reach, the roundedness is just allowing your posterior cavity of the rib cage to fill with air. Very important, because remember, when a doctor listens to your breathing, they listen from behind. It's because we got a lot of space back there, but we don't use it well, especially when we're overly extended in this posture. That's a lot of back tension. That's back space that's not being filled. So this is a nice little position to put yourself in, to more so to remind yourself of the exhalation, but we got a little bit of inhalation assistance too. Speaking of which, let's get into inhalation. Okay, so the next one, we're going to talk a little bit more about expanding through the chest. So this is some important stuff to talk about. If you're lying on the floor and you're just breathing, and somebody with poor breathing habits will do one of two things. Some are belly breathers. A lot of people tend to be belly breathers, and that means their stomach would just rise and fall. That's bad, and in fact, that is what originally we were taught with the diaphragm was a good way to breathe, but that has since been debunked because there are more optimal ways to breathe. Then there are more stressed people who will be chest breathers because they're usually lacking anything down there, and they're just using more of the assistant respiratory inhalation muscles, which are up in the neck, so they'll have chronic neck tension and all that. So then there are chest breathers. What you want ultimately, first of all, is a little bit of both, but more importantly is a 360 or even a horizontal expansion as you inhale. If you can start doing that and start feeling that and really actually feeling it, not because I'm telling you to feel, but you're like, oh yeah, I just feel I'm getting wider and wider with each breath. That will be you really working your breathing system well and putting your body into a calm state. So while I'm not going to actually have be on the floor demoing what that looks like, we're actually just going to go into these positions that will optimize your breathing patterns for you. And again, it's going to be more in this flex position because we want expansion throughout rather than being thinking of this front to back expansion. We want more of that posterior and side expansion. So for this one, okay, if you can, you should go to somewhere where you can hang and hold on to. Also, try to grab a roller or something that you're going to squeeze between your knees. Okay, I'm just going to turn there. So, going somewhere where you can hang on to, you're going to just basically put the roller or whatever yoga block, if you got one, roll up some towels, something between your knees. Get to somewhere where you can hang on to, and we're going to basically do a hang stretch of our back, but we're going to incorporate some lower body mechanics. So a hang stretch of the back, incorporating lower body mechanics. In this order, please. And then we're going to go into our breathing pattern as I just talked about, okay? So before you even hang on to something, bend your knees slightly, okay? Then number 2, very important, your belly button, belt buckle, groin area, can you lift it up towards your face? Lift it up, lift it up, lift it up, okay? This would also be a hip squeeze forward, but I don't necessarily want you to think of just jamming forward. I want you to think of lifting up, okay? Hold that position, grab onto whatever you are holding onto, and just lean back till you get that back stretch. Okay? While squeezing and lifting and holding on so that you don't fall, go ahead and go into that breathing pattern. So 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Feel those ribs get nice and tight. Pause. And inhale again. Feel that upper back stretch. Good, nice exhale. Pause. Now really feel your ribs expand. Breathe in. Good, long exhale right here. Pause for 3. Really feel those ribs expand. Breathe in. And last cycle through. Exhale. Feel those ribs get super tight. Pause for 3. Breathe in. Good. So hopefully, maybe you could even see a little bit of my back expand. It's all facilitated with the exhale. You gotta breathe out. You got to breathe out. If you start to breathe out, then you'll get a nice expansion. And some might feel it in the upper back, but just generally as you get better throughout, you're gonna feel it all throughout. And that's what we want. Anti-extension, more forward reaching. Feel those ribs get pulled down as well, so you're gonna feel a little bit of core, and we got a little bit of lower body, posterior chain working. It's a golden one. A golden one more so to feel expansion, feel your back stretch, but even the previous one kind of did that. I just think the first one I did helps a little bit more with breathing out, whereas that one helps a little bit more with expanding. Okay, moving on, okay, going on to another exercise. What am I doing for time? Let me move this back. So, next one that I just wanted to show you guys. I'm gonna go through it quickly because I know I've overdone this one, okay? I've overdone this one, but we're gonna do the hip bridge, because now I've explained all of the breathing. Now we're gonna incorporate it with that's not really a hip bridge, but a hamstring bridge. And here's why. This is a super important exercise. It's more of a regressive one. It's more one you would do first. Because first of all, you're putting your body into the calmest state possible, okay? So that means your body, basically you're gonna be lying down on the floor, so a lot of things are just off at the moment, not working. The lower body is not having to work much. However, all that is working is a little bit of hamstrings and inner thigh, which is important for grounding and controlling your pelvis. So we got a little bit of something going on here. And then that also, while you're in that calm state, you can now focus on the expansion and rib drops to the max. So that's why I wanted to do this exercise kind of last, because I wanted you to feel that ribs dropping exhalation and ribs expanding inhalation first before we get into this, so that you can be a little bit more mindful. Bear those in mind with the feet stability stuff, and you're gonna put your body into a really, really good place, okay? Go to a wall. I'm not gonna turn the camera around too much because it's a little too fiddly, but I'm just gonna put my feet up against the back of my chair. However, go to a wall. This is very important for putting your feet on a flat surface, grounding your feet on something that could possibly mimic the floor, okay? 90 degrees. All right, and squeeze something between your knees. We got some inner thighs working, okay? Push your feet into the wall and peel just your hips off the floor, okay? We should have some nice hamstrings working, fingers over the ribs, okay? And so now, from here, we can go into the same breathing pace that we've just been going over, okay? So I'm gonna go 3 breath cycle. Go ahead and inhale. Exhale through the mouth. Feel those ribs drop. Pause for 3. Big breath in. Really feel those ribs expand. Exhale, feel those ribs drop. Pause for 3. Inhale, expand. Exhale, drop them. Pause for 3. Inhale, expand. Last one. Exhale, drop them. Pause for 3. Inhale, expand. Good, relax. Hamstring, relax. So, good one right there. Oh, wow. Yeah, so that one, I wouldn't necessarily do those before bed. These are more waking you up, stimulating ones before your workout, that kind of stuff. If you're feeling a little junked up, tense, good ones to do. But that one's just such a winner of like really piecing your body together, integrating it, getting you to feel this, be completely calm, but you've got a little bit of activation in the hip complex that's really going to be healthy and good for you. So that's a winner. I love it. It's such a good one. It's such a good one to prepare your body for movement. And so hopefully now we've got that going. We're dialed in. We understand our breath. The last thing we're going to do is now integrate it. I'm going to integrate it with a core hip movement so that you know what you should be doing when you're breathing and moving through an exercise, as well as a more complex movement, the squat. So first off, the core hip movement. And I'm sorry if I've done this exercise in the past, but it's just such a good one that I think everybody should be doing this. Everybody needs this exercise because it's such good oblique control, such good hip control, as well as a bit of shoulder stability. So as much as we staple push-ups and think, oh, I need to do push-ups to be fit, we really should be doing side hip bridges to also be fit, because we lack so much hip control and oblique control, especially when it comes to breathing. So right here, you're going to be right in this position, bottom leg bent. We're going to keep the shin and knee on the floor. Okay, top leg will be back. All right. Let me just move my IG camera. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to do throughout this movement is exhale always on the way up. And that's what you generally want to do, because you're going to recruit the most core tension to help you. All right? So exhale and moving is a process. What people tend to do is hold their breath and exhale at the top, which is a little bit of a mistake. It's not wrong per se, because you are actually trying to recruit tension to help your movement, but we want the right muscles to do the work. We don't want excess tension. But exhaling properly, you're going to recruit the max core tension to help you move through the movement. All right? What I also like about this is that we can do an arm reach, and that's going to facilitate good breathing patterns. So this is just a magical winner exercise again. I'm always giving you guys golden nuggets. My stuff are golden tools to help you feel multiple things, get multiple things working. So that's why I repeat exercises, just for you, so that you know. Okay, so start with your arm reaching, bottom knee and shin stay on the ground, and you're gonna push, lift this hip forward, drive your knee forward, pull your elbow back. We're going to take a big breath of air in, exhale, hold for 3, slowly back down, breathing in, exhale, slowly back down, breathing in, exhale, slowly back down, breathing in, We want to make sure we hold it at the top and really finish that exhale. Clamping down the ribs, making sure the hip is locked, okay? One more, breathe in, exhale. So notice by tuning up or syncing up the breathing to your moving, you again facilitate better inhales, but you facilitate the best core tension as you go through the movement. So this is why it's so important to actually breathe as we exercise and making sure that we're not breathing at the end of the exercise, the end of the movement. You should be breathing throughout. Let's do a quick 5 on this side, okay? Keeping this planted, bottom leg bent, that's your platform. This knee will be driving, arm forward, breathing in, exhale. Breathing in, exhale. Breathing in, and exhale. Making sure you hold the end range and finish the breath. Breathing in. Feel it. Make sure you fill it up. Feel a little bit of expansion too as you breathe in. Last expansion. Last exhale. So there you go. That's how you want to be syncing up your breathing to moving. That particular exercise helps with breathing. It also helps with stability. It helps with a lot of things. But it doesn't really matter. This could be with a bench press. This could, bench press is a little bit more complicated again, but whatever it is, push-ups, you want to do lunges and whatnot. I say complicated because when I say bench press, it's more of a compound movement along with squat, along with deadlift. And that is what next, let me explain that next in terms of breathing pattern, which should be a little bit different. Although most things you can't go wrong with what I just showed. However, when we go into a squat, and it's pretty much going to be the last thing, and this is kind of what is recommended, because for these complex movements, you're going to need core stability for both the down phase as well as the up phase. And that's what usually happens, is that we struggle with both even. However, the up phase, or the push, the concentric, tends to be a little bit more important, so we save ourselves a little bit for that. But you want to own the movement throughout. So I'm picking squat in particular because squat is one of the most butchered staple exercises there are. And I don't even think it's that important, because there are way more hip exercises or quad exercises, lunge work, stance work that we need to master first before we need full-on squat. Mobility, I could definitely argue, is important, but that's what we first of all lack. Because what happens is we lock ourselves into extension, we drop back, and that already turns ourselves into a bit of a hinge versus a squat, okay? True squat, you want to be kind of like what a baby does, which many of us can't do anymore because we lack the ankle mobility, our heads are smaller now. However, what we're really missing is the rib cage position, which if you're breathing throughout, you're gonna get right. Controversial topic with squatting, because some people, obviously if you're a heavy lifter, you're not gonna wanna favor this method because this is gonna limit how much you lift, and you're gonna go into basically whatever pattern gets you from point A to point B with the most weight. But if you wanna keep your body in a safe place, if you wanna minimize back tension, if you want to maximize core strategy, if you want to maximize your breathing technique, it's a little bit better to do your squat, breathing throughout, so that way you're engaging and pulling your ribs down and keeping all this as one, and then allowing the knees to go forward and everything to bend throughout. So this is what we're going to do right here. I guess we can do arms reaching forward, okay? So we'll take a big breath of air in, exhale. Full breath out, down and up, okay? You take a breath in. allowing me to keep all this engaged throughout the movement. I basically never lose control of my core throughout the movement. I never lose control of my rib cage throughout the movement. In addition, I keep my body, even though you might be gasping for a little bit more air, you're keeping your body in a safer place than the ladder, which usually mixes up our whole breathing pattern and posture pattern and everything. Similarly, if I was to do a deadlift, which is more hinge, okay, ideally, which is coming from the floor, I would breathe in, breathe out. So I'm saving a whole breath for the up and down and keeping myself always engaged. This is not a right or wrong thing. This is just giving you advice on how to maximize your breathing core strategy together to keep your body in the safest place when working out or in stress. Because basically all that goes hand in hand. It doesn't really change much. Okay, so one more time demonstrating the squat. Okay, it will be like this. Let me even keep my fingers here to check my rib position. Breathe in, breathe out. Yeah, and definitely feel a lot more glutes and core in that one as well. So be mindful of that next time you work on squat to try a little bit of that. And I'm not going to go into bench press today, but similarly, bench press lifted off, you would want to try to make sure you exhale throughout. Just kind of keep that core tension in, drop those ribs, facilitate expansion throughout, keep the body in a safe place. So that's pretty much it for the breathing 101. I know I've talked a lot again, but again, it's all stuff that you should know and be mindful of, stuff that will help you. Hopefully now you will know what breathing means and how to incorporate it into your workouts. I already talked about why you want to do it before, but most important takeaway is treat your body right and it will treat you right. Because we want to do this so that we can have joy, effort, and focus in our workouts. And because when you do that, you will move better than you ever have before. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Comment any questions that you might have. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And please enjoy, keep enjoying moving. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.